Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Okay, we continue with our prayer. So this week we'll move on to the next set of 10 verses from Sri Govinda Damodar Stotram by Srila Bilamangal Thakur. So posted the link in the chat. So we have completed up to 20 so far over the last 2 weeks. Now we'll move on to 21 to 30. Okay. Sukham shayanam nilaye cha vishnum devarshimukya munayah prapannaha tena chute tanmayatam rajanti govindadamo dharmadhaveti विहाय निद्राम् अरुणोदये च विधाय कृत्यानि च विप्रमुख्यः वेदावसाने प्रपठन्ति नित्यं गोविन्ददामोदरमाधवेति वृन्दावने गोपगणाश्च गोप्यो विलोक्य गोविन्दवियोगखिन्नम् राधां जगुषाश्रु विलोचनाभ्यां गोविन्ददामोदरमाधवेति प्रभातसञ्चारगतानुगावस्तद्रक्षणार्थं तनयं यशोदा प्रभो प्रबोधयत् पाणितलेन मण्डं गोविन्ददामोदरमाधवेति प्रवालशोभा इव दीर्घकेश वाटाम्बुपार्णाशनपूतदेहा मूले तरुणां मुनयः पठन्ति गोविन्ददामोदरमाधवेति एवं ब्रुवाणा विरहातुराभृशां प्रजास्त्रिया कृष्णविषिक्तमानसः विसृज्य लज्जां रुरुदुः स्म सुस्वरं गोविन्ददामोदरमाधवेति गोपी कदाचिन्मणिपिञ्जरस्थं शुकं वचो वाचयितुं प्रवृत्ता आनन्दकन्दव्रजचन्द्रकृष्ण गोविन्ददामोदरमाधवेति गोवत्सबालैः शिशुकाकपक्षं बध्नन्तमम्भोजदलायताक्षम् उवाच माता चिबुकं गेहित्वा गोविन्ददामोदरमाधवेति प्रभातकाले वरवल्लभौघा गौरक्षणार्थं धृतवेतदण्डः आकारयामासुरनन्तमाद्यं गोविन्ददामोदरमाधवेति जलाशये कालियमर्दनाय यदा कदम्बादपतन्मुरारे गोपान् गणाश्चक्रुशुर्वेत्य गोपा गोविन्ददामोदरमाधवेति 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 हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Govinda Damodar Stotram ki jai, Shri Bilwangal Thakur ki jai, Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, translations from 21 to 30. Anybody like to read the translations today?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Mataji.
Dev Rishi Narada and other munis are always surrendered to Lord Vishnu, who happily rests upon his couch. They always chant the names of Govinda, Damodara, and Madhva, and thus they attain spiritual forms similar to his. Rising at dawn, having performed their rituals and chanted Vedic hymns, the best of the learned Brahmanas always loud chantly Govinda, Damodara, Madhva. In Vrindavan, seeing Sri Radhika overwhelmed with separation from Govinda, groups of Gopas and Gopis sang with tears in their lotus eyes, Govinda, Damodara, O Madhava. The cows having already gone out to graze early in the morning, Mother Yashoda gently roused her sleeping son with the palm of her hand, softly saying, Govinda, Damodara, Madhava. With long matted hair, the color of coral, and bodies purified by eating only leaves, water, and air, the sages sit beneath the trees and chant Govinda, Damodara, and Madhava. After speaking these words, the ladies of Vraja, who were so attached to Krishna, felt extremely agitated by their imminent separation from him. They forgot all worldly shame and loudly cried out, O Govinda, O Damodara, O Madhava. Sometimes a gopi is engaged in teaching a parrot within a jeweled cage to recite names like Ananda Kanda, source of bliss, Vrajachandra, Krishna, Govinda, Damodara, and Madhava. The lotus eyed lord was tying the shikha of a cowherd boy to the tail of a calf when his mother caught him, lifted up his chin, and said, Govinda, Damodara, Madhava. In early morning, a group of his favorite cowherd boys arrived, stick canes in hand, to take care of the cows. They addressed the unlimited primeval personality of Godhead, Govinda, Damodara, Madhva. When Lord Murari jumped from the Kadamba branch into the water to chastise the Kaliya serpent, all the gopis and cowherd boys went there and cried out, O Govinda, Damodara, Madhava. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mini Mataji. Yes. They just chant Govinda Damodara Madhava Madhava. So this is a very nice bhajan and um, reminded me of Janavi Harrison's composition of the same song, which is under the title of "My Heart Flows Like a River to the Sea." It's a very nice composition, which we should listen if we have not listened to before. Which where she basically sings the same thing, but yeah, the sages that were referenced here, it says the sages close their eyes and they meditate, but things have changed over the years. The riverbeds have changed. Instead of cell phones ring, instead of bells. So it's nice. But she says, yeah, it's Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. My heart flows like a river to the sea. May it always be a river of grace flows through me. May it always be. So that's very nice. So may that river of grace always flow through us, and may we always continue to chant Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava, Hey Sakheti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Okay, so let's continue with our reading of Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit. It's been a kind of a few days of gap that we had since Sadhu Sangha, but as this chapter is aptly titled, "Staying High Forever," we were staying high forever with Sadhu Sangha and with the Kirtan festival that we had. So we'll continue from where we left off last week. I think Prabhupada, like we said, this was very nice point in time where Prabhupada also led his first Sankirtan in Tompkins Square Park last week on the eve of Sadhu Sangha when we went, and he came back and he was talking to the newcomers who had come now to Matchless Gifts to hear him, to understand a little bit more, go a little more deeper into this chanting of the Mahamantra. And they were asking a lot of questions, and Prabhupada answered them patiently, but also very strongly, because some of them were not willing to agree that they were suffering or they were having pain in this world. That is the false notion that most of the people have, that everything that we are going through, oh, um, it's a happy place, it's giving a lot of pleasure. Occasionally there may be some sufferings, but Prabhupada was flipping the coin the other way and saying, this is dukhalayam shashvatam. This is a place of suffering, place of misery. Once in a while there may be some drops of, just like a drop of water in the desert or a drop of honey, outside the bottle. That is the pleasure we may experience, but predominantly this is a place of suffering. But yeah, so finally Prabhupada is now taking rest, and we'll see what happens next. October 10th is where we are starting. So I'll continue to read from here. October 10th. It was early. Swamiji had not yet come down for the class, and the sun had not yet risen. Satsvarupa and Kirtananda sat on the floor of the storefront, reading a clipping from the Morning Times. Satsvarupa. Has the Swami seen it? Kirtananda. Yes, just a few minutes ago. He said it's very important. It's historic. He especially liked that it was the New York Times. Satsvarupa, reading aloud. Swami's flock chants in park to find ecstasy. 50 followers clap and sway to hypnotic music at East Side ceremony. Sitting under a tree in a Lower East Side park and occasionally dancing, 50 followers of a Hindu Swami repeated a 16-word chant for 2 hours every day. It was more than 2 hours. For 2 hours yesterday afternoon, to the accompaniment of cymbals, tambourines, sticks, drums, bells, and a small reed organ. Repetition of the chant, Swami A.C. Bhaktivedanta says, is the best way to achieve self-realization in this age of destruction. While children played on Hovings Hill, a pile of dirt in the middle of Tompkins Square Park. Hovings Hill? Ketananda. I think it's a joke named after the park's commissioner. Satsvarupa. Oh. Hovings Hill, a pile of dirt in the middle of Tompkins Square Park, or bicycled along the sunny walks. Many in the crowd of about 100 persons standing around the chanters found themselves swaying to or clapping hands in time to the hypnotic rhythmic music. It brings a state of ecstasy, said Allen Ginsberg, the poet, who was one of the celebrants. For one thing, Allen Ginsberg said, the syllables force yoga breath control. That's one physiological explanation. Satsvarupa and Kirtananda laughing. That's nonsense. The ecstasy of the chant or mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Kirtananda. The Swami said that's the best part because they have printed the mantra, it's all perfect. Whoever reads this can be purified just the same as if they had chanted. Satsvarupa continuing. Has replaced LSD and other drugs for many of the Swami's followers, Mr. Ginsberg said. He explained that Hare Krishna, pronounced Hare, is the name for Vishnu, a Hindu god, as the bringer of light. Rama, produced Rama, is the incarnation of Vishnu as the prince of responsibility. What? Where did he get that? It sounds like something out of an encyclopedia. The chant therefore names different aspects of God, Mr. Ginsberg said. Why so much from Mr. Ginsberg? Why not Swamiji? Another celebrant, a 26-year-old Howard M. Wheeler, who described himself as a former English instructor at Ohio State University, now devoting his full time to the Swami, said, I myself took 50 doses of LSD and a dozen of peyote in 2 years, and now nothing. Laughter. The Swami orders his followers to give up all intoxicants, including coffee, tea, and cigarettes, he said in an interview after the ceremony. In this sense, we are helping your government, he added. However, he indicated the government apparently has not appreciated this help sufficiently. For the Department of Immigration recently told Swami Bhaktivedanta that his 1 year's visitor's visa had expired and that he must leave, he said. The case is being appealed. The Swami, a swarthy man with short cropped greyish hair and clad in a salmon colored robe over a pink sweater, said that when he first met his own teacher or guru in 1922, he was told to spread the cult of Krishna to the Western countries through the English language. Therefore, in this old age of 71, I have taken so much risk. It says that we are going to come there and chant every Sunday. His followers include some social workers. I guess that's me. Kirtananda, I think this article will bring a lot of new people. The Swami came down for class. The morning was chilly, and he wore a peach colored turtleneck jersey his disciples had bought for him at a shop on Orchard Street. They had also started wearing jerseys, a kind of unofficial uniform. Swamiji didn't mention the Times article. He began singing the Sanskrit prayers. Vandeham Shri Guru. I offered my obeisances to my spiritual master. Then he began singing Hare Krishna, and the boys joined in. Sing softly, Prabhupada cautioned them. But no sooner had he spoken than water began pouring down through the cracks in the ceiling. The man upstairs didn't like early morning kirtans, and he began stomping his feet to show that this flood was no accident. What is this? Prabhupada looked up, disturbed but with a touch of amusement. The boys looked around. Water was pouring down in several places. Get some pots, he said. A boy ran upstairs to Swamiji's apartment to get pots from the kitchen. Soon, 3 pots were catching the water as it dripped in 3 separate places. How does he do it? Asked Rumapati. Is he pouring water onto the floor? Prabhupada asked Brahmananda to go up and speak to the man, to tell him that the kirtana would be a quiet one. Then he asked everyone to sit back down amid the dripping and the pots and continue chanting. Softly, he said, softly. That evening the temple was filled with guests. It is so much kindness of the Supreme Lord, Prabhupada said, that he wants to associate with you. So you should receive him. Always chant Hare Krishna. Now, this language is Sanskrit, and some of you do not know the meaning. Still, it is so attractive that when we chanted Hare Krishna in the park, oh, old ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls all took part. But there are also complaints, just like we are receiving daily reports that our Sankirtan movement is disturbing some tenants here. Ravindra Swarupa was walking down Second Avenue on his way to Swami's morning class when an acquaintance came out of the Gems Spa Candy and News store and said, Hey, your Swami is in the newspaper. Did you see? Yeah, Ravindra Swarupa replied. The New York Times. No, his friend said. Today. And he held up a copy of the latest edition of the East Village Other. The front page was filled with a two-color photo of the Swami, his hands folded decorously at his waist, standing in yellow robes in front of the big tree in Tompkins Square Park. He was speaking to a small crowd that had gathered around, and his disciples were at his feet. The big steeple of St. Bridget's formed a silhouette behind him. Above the photo was the single headline, Save Earth Now, and beneath was the mantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Below the mantra were the words, See Centerfold. That was the whole front page. Ravindra Swarupa took the newspaper and opened to the center, where he found a long article and a large photo of Swamiji with his left hand on his head, grinning blissfully in an unusual, casual moment. His friend gave him the paper, and Ravindra Swarupa hurried to Swamiji. When he reached the storefront, several boys went along with him to show Swamiji the paper. Look, Ravindra Swarupa handed it over. This is the biggest local newspaper. Everybody reads it. Prabhupada opened his eyes wide. He read aloud, Save Earth Now. And he looked up at the faces of the boys. Umapati and Hayagriva wondered aloud what it meant, Save Earth Now. What was it, an ecological pun? Was it a reference to staving off nuclear disaster? Was it poking fun at Swamiji's evangelism? Well, said Umapati, after all, this is the East Village Other. It could mean anything. Swamiji is saving the earth, Kitananda said. We are trying to, Prabhupada replied, by Krishna's grace. Methodically, he put on the eyeglasses he usually reserved for reading the Bhagavatam and carefully appraised the page from top to the bottom. The newspaper looked incongruous in his hands. Then he began turning the pages. He stopped at the centerfold and looked at the picture of himself and laughed, then paused, studying the article. So, he said, read it. He handed the paper to Hayagriva. Once upon a time, Hayagriva began loudly, it was a fanciful story of a group of theologians who had killed an old man in a church, and of the subsequent press report that God was now dead. But the story went on. Some people didn't believe it. They had dug up the body and found it to be not the body of God, but that of his PR man, organized religion. At once, the good tidings spread across the wide world. God lives. But where was God? Hagriva read dramatically to an enthralled group. A full page ad in the New York Times offering a reward for information leading to the discovery of the whereabouts of God and signed by Martin Luther King and Ronald Reagan brought no response. People began to worry and wonder again. God, said some people, lives in a sugar cube. Others whispered that the sacred secret was in a cigarette. But while all this was going on, an old man, 1 year past his allotted 70, wandered into New York's East Village and set about to prove to the world that he knew where God could be found. In only 3 months, the man, Swami A.C. Bhaktivedanta, succeeded in convincing the world's toughest audience, bohemians, acid heads, potheads, and hippies, that he knew the way to God. Turn off, sing out, and fall in. This new brand of holy man, with all due deference to Dr. Leary, has come forth with a brand of consciousness expansion that's sweeter than acid, cheaper than pot, and non bustable by fuzz. How is all this possible? Through Krishna, the Swami says. The boys broke into cheers and applause. Achyutananda apologized to Swamiji for the language of the article. It's a hippie newspaper. That's all right, said Prabhupada. He has written it in his own way, but he has said that we are giving God. They are saying that God is dead, but it is false. We are directly presenting, here is God. Who can deny it? So many theologians and people may say there is no God, but the Vaishnava hands God over to you freely as a commodity. Here is God. So he has marked this. It is very good. Save this paper. It is very important. The article was long. For the cynical New Yorker, it said, living, visible, tangible proof can be found at 26 Second Avenue, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 7 and 9. The article described the evening kirtans, quoted from Prabhupada's lecture, and mentioned a rhythmic, hypnotic 16-word chant, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, sung for hours on end to the accompaniment of hands clapping cymbals and bells. Swamiji said that simply because the mantra was there, the article was perfect. The article also included testimony from the Swami's disciples. I started chanting to myself, like the Swami said. When I was walking down the street, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, over and over, and suddenly everything started looking so beautiful. The kids, the old men and women, even the creeps looked beautiful, to say nothing of the trees and flowers. It was like I had taken dozen doses of LSD, but I knew there was a difference. There is no coming down from this. I can always do this anytime, anywhere. It is always with you. Without sarcasm, the article referred to the Swami's disciple Swami's discipline forbidding coffee, tea, meat, eggs, and cigarettes, to say nothing of marijuana, LSD, alcohol, and illicit sex. Obviously, the author admired Swamiji, the energetic old man, a leading exponent of the philosophy of personalism, which holds that the one God is a person but that his form is spiritual. The article ended with a hint that Tompkins Square Park would see similar spiritual happenings each weekend. There, in the shadow of Hummings Hill, God lives in a trance like dance and chant. October 12th. It was to be a love pageant rally marking California's new law prohibiting the possession of LSD. The rally's promoters urged everyone to come to Tompkins Square Park in elaborate dress. Although the devotees had nothing to do with the LSD laws, they took the rally as another opportunity to popularize the chanting of Hare Krishna. So they went with Swami's blessings, carrying finger cymbals and a homemade tambourine. The devotees looked plain in their dark jeans and lightweight zippered jackets. All around them, the dress was extravagant. Tie-dyed shirts, tie-bleached jeans, period costumes, painted faces. There was even a circus clown. Tully Kupferberg of the Fugs Rock Band carried an American flag with the stars rearranged to spell LOVE. But so far, the rally had been a dud. Just a strange set of drugged young people milling near the large tree where Swamiji had chanted and spoken just a few days before. Swamiji's boys made their way through the crowd to a central spot and started chanting Hare Krishna. A crowd pressed in close around them, Everyone seemed to be in friendly spirits, just unorganized, without any purpose. The idea behind the rally had been to show love and a pageant of LSD vision, but not much had been happening. Someone was walking around with a bucket of burning incense. Some hippies sat back on the park benches, watching everything through colored glasses. But the Kirtana was attractive, and soon a crowd gathered around the boys as they chanted. Kirtananda, his shaved head covered with a knit skull cap, stood beside tall Jagannath, who, with his dark framed glasses and wavy hair, looked like a great horned owl playing hand cymbals. Umapati, also playing hand cymbals, looked thoughtful. Ramananda sat on the ground in front of them, his eyes closed and his mouth widely open, chanting Hare Krishna. Beside him, and looking moody, sat Raphael, and next to him, aesthetically thin-faced Ravindra Swarupa. Close by, a policeman stood watching. The hippies began to pick up the chanting. They had come together, but there had been no center, no lecture, no amplified music. But now they began clapping and swaying, getting into the chanting as if it were their single purpose. The chanting grew stronger, and after an hour, the group broke into a spontaneous dance, joining hands and singing out, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. They skipped and they skipped and danced together, circling the tree and Swamiji's disciples. To the hippies, it was in fact a love pageant rally, and they found the love and peace they were searching for. It was in this mantra. Hare Krishna had become their anthem, their reason for coming together, the life of the love pageant rally. They didn't know exactly what the mantra was, but they accepted it as something deep within the soul, a metaphysical vibration. They tuned into it. Even the clown began chanting and dancing. Only the policeman remained aloof and sober, though he also could see that the new demonstration would be a peaceful one. The dance continued, and only the impending dusk brought the love pageant rally to a close. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we'll pause here. We can take any thoughts, reflections. Anybody has any comments from today's reading? The chanting of Hare Krishna. Sometimes, like, I was remembering again at the Sadhu Sangha when we were at that hotel resort. When during the Prashadam break, we would go from the Kirtan hall to the Prashadam. Many devotees before me, I myself said, instead of saying good morning or hello to those servers, so this was a resort, so this was this kind of a well-serviced resort. So luckily, the volunteers didn't have to clean up or do those things. At least there were servers who were serving the Prashadam because of the large facility, but they were greeting as we were walking to the Prashadam hall. And by day 2, day 3, they themselves were saying Hare Krishna instead of saying good morning. So that was the effect of the Maha Mantra. And 4,000 devotees come and say Hare Krishna, and that becomes the the voice of the tongue, and the tongue automatically starts chanting Hare Krishna instead of saying hello or good morning. So, anyways, that was a nice effect of Maha Mantra. But yeah, coming together and chanting again. This, like I said, Prabhupada started all of this in Tompkins Square Park, and his disciples and grand disciples and all the devotees today are continuing the movement through these wonderful Kirtan festivals all over the world, where devotees come together from all parts of the country, all parts of the world, and in unison, in different moods, different melodies, different ragas. Like we were saying, Sachinanda Maharaj says, Bharata, remember the three things: Bha for Bhava, Ra for Raga, and Ta for Tala. So these three things comprise the essence of the Sankirtan, of the in which we should sing with bhava, with love. And yesterday, I was mentioning actually Saturday, when Mahatma Prabhu was at the center, he was mentioning about after the class, about japa, that we should do it from our heart, because usually we hear, we should control our mind, we should make sure that if mind runs away, we have to bring the mind back, we have to listen to the words of the Mahamantra. Yes, all of that is true, but ultimately it is the song of the heart. So he beautifully said that your mind is where your heart is. So if our heart is in the right place, and if our heart wants to chant, then the mind will automatically follow, and it will follow the tunes of the heart. So that was very well said by Mahatma Prabhu, and that is the mood that we should try to develop. It is not easy. It is theoretically it is easy to say. Of course, he has been practicing for decades, and it was nice to see him actually when he was at the Sadhu Sangha. Um, I was seeing him. Mahatma Prabhu was in the hall during the Mangalarti. After the Mangalarti, when we were chanting, he would walk up to the posters. There was a big poster banner of Haridas Thakur with the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and then there were banners of course, there was Gauranitai on one side dancing, um, and then on the other side there was Radha Krishna, and then there was also again Haridas Thakur's Maha Mantra at multiple places in the hall. But I saw him. He would walk up. He would stand there for kind of a lot of minutes, standing before Haridas Thakur, and chant. And then he will walk up to Gauranitai and then chant there, and then he will walk up again to Radha Krishna's poster. He would chant there. So that is how you develop the mood, and that is where the mercy and the strength comes from for chanting. So again, we can take inspiration from all these elevated Vaishnavas, and we can perfect our lives just by following in their footsteps. Okay, any other thoughts, comments, reflections from today's reading? Okay, then it is 6:32. We will wrap up here for today. Thank you so much for your kind association and japa this morning. We'll end with Vaishnava Pranam prayers. Vansha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णवृंद की जय। जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Great day,
Gauri
everyone. Hare Krishna.